Hi, Claudia.
Hi, Jeanne, and hello to all of you. We're so glad to have you here with us today.
Yes, we are. And so before we get started, I just want to remind everybody, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the Q&A section. So today we're going to talk about a journey. It's not your normal pack up the car, load in the kids, bring the snacks kind of thing. It's the journey that you, our customers, are taking every day.
That's right, Jeanne, and it doesn't matter if you're new to Concur or if you've been with us for 20 years. The journey is about implementing best practices methods to get the most out of your spend management program.
Yep, and we're here today to talk about T&E and encourage you to think about processes and technologies because what worked a few years ago is not going to get the job done today. Claudia, how are our customers describing their new business reality?
There's this desire to move beyond their initial T&E automation efforts. They're now thinking about how to expand on that as part of a holistic program incorporating updated processes, communications, employee experience, and even artificial intelligence to unlock value across the organization.
You know, that aligns with a recent study that was done by Forrester Research. Financial decision makers were asked about company initiatives for the coming year, and the number one priority was automating to improve efficiency, growth, and innovation.
Extending your T&E systems can help drive an improved experience for both front and back office employees. Scalable growth even meet sustainability goals.
All right, so Claudia, we know this is a journey, and every journey begins with the first steps. What should that first step be?
Well, you might be surprised it doesn't start with technology. It starts with reviewing your T&E policy. But even before you get to the policy itself, we recommend identifying your stakeholders. There may be more than you think, particularly if you haven't done this exercise in a few years.
That's true. For years, the focus really has been on travelers, but today there's many more people submitting expenses, particularly with the rise of hybrid or work from home office hours.
Right. There are also back office stakeholders like finance, tax, treasury, not to mention HR and the leadership suite.
Mm,
You want to understand everybody's needs, particularly if policies overlap or even if they conflict.
yeah. Fortunately, there's a lot of ways to do this, whether it's monthly meetings or a dashboard to continuously collect ideas and feedback. Keep listening and aligning your policies across all spend channels. You want to do whatever works best for your organization.
Right, and SAP is also taking our own advice. We're updating our T&E policies to better reflect changing needs, such as flexible travel and sustainability.
That's right. And another piece that I think is simplifying your policies. I've worked with some customers who've had like 40 pages of travel policy. This can really be overwhelming and somewhat confusing. In this case, more doesn't equal better.
This is common, but it is a fixable problem. We have a customer who operates in 30 countries, and would you believe their policy is just 2 pages?
Okay, that's inspiring. The simplification of policies helps you think outside the box and really focus on what truly matters to your organization. Use your policy to change and create a better employee experience and provide cost savings. One of our customers recently did this. They allowed travelers to expense one Air Club membership. It made travelers so happy. And what they found were overall savings on checked bags and food and even Wi-Fi.
Right. I can tell you from personal experience, SAP allows us to do this for our road warriors. Travelers are much more productive having a comfortable place to work and being able to grab a bite to eat while waiting for their flight. It's truly a win-win.
That's true. And while you review your policies, think about how your employees are paying for their trips. Claudia, what are the payment options that everybody should be considering?
That's a great question, Jean. There are lots of options. Corporate credit cards, of course, are a popular option because data flows directly onto the expense report. Oh, and by the way, we're working on some enhanced APIs to have that card data available even faster for you. Virtual cards are another hot topic too. Companies love the flexibility and they can be issued in seconds, but there are some considerations. They aren't accepted everywhere, for instance, and they're typically used for short term or single use purchases. In short, it's personal to your company. Take the time to figure out what works for you.
Yeah, you should also think about pre-approvals. Fewer than 50% of pre-approvals, also known as purchase requests, are actually used for travel. Our customers have been using them for requesting corporate cards, for getting budget for a team event, or even part of the tuition reimbursement process. It's not about spend control, it's about spend planning.
Exactly. And this is why we recommend reviewing policies at least once a year because this isn't a set it and forget it type of program. Also, this is a good time to remind you that you don't have to go at it alone. Talk to each other. This is your community. Make those connections with each other and your agencies and partners. Keep those conversations going as well on the SAP Concur community portal.
So our policies are up to date, Claudia. What's next?
Well, policies only work if people are using them, and they can only use them if they know where to find them. When you document your policies, consider the order of importance. Highlighting spend that is top of mind, things like maybe meal per diems, how much can be claimed toward phone bills or internet, and it's important for it to live in an easily accessible document.
So I don't want to brag, but I'm going to. SAP has a really great travel hub for us. It includes not only our policies, but a bunch of other resources to help us before, during, and after any trip.
Another great tool is just-in-time messaging. This provides guidance like when an employee is planning travel and maybe you want to encourage sustainable choices. Concur Reporting has a great bursting functionality that can help with just-in-time messaging. You can find out more from our consultants and your account team.
Okay, Claudia. So I know we document our policies and we've made them easy to find, but honestly, I'm a spend expert and I have questions from time to time. What do I do?
Well, no matter how well you prepare and communicate your policies, the truth is people just don't read them. There's still going to be questions. There are many ways to support users. In addition to just-in-time messaging, leverage in-app guidance such as Concur User Assistant by WalkMe. If you have this enabled on your site, users will find this interactive guidance right when they click the help link. And other customers have opted to take this a step further and provide customized guidance specific to their site. And we also offer live support from the user support desk. Make sure employees know about all of the great resources available to them just by clicking on that help link in Concur.
So those are great tips, Claudia. So I'm ready now to take my trip and plan it. But leaving the house is more than just picking a hotel or a flight. In fact, the Wakefield research study that we've recently done showed that 58% of travelers have changed hotels in the last 12 months because they felt unsafe.
Right. The goal here is to give employees access to trustworthy information. Companies can also help by sharing reminders and helpful tips as travelers are preparing for their trip.
So there are three ways that make expensing your trip more efficient while traveling.
Right. One, use the Concur mobile app to snap photos of your receipts as you travel. And our optical character recognition solution using artificial intelligence and machine learning turns those receipts into expense line items automatically. You can also submit and approve reports while you're on the go in the mobile app.
The second thing is really a time saver. That's e-receipts. So we have relationships with most major travel suppliers who provide electronic receipts, which automatically flow into the expense report, not only saving time, but reducing errors.
And three, don't forget those corporate credit cards we just talked about. They also help reduce manual errors and give companies greater visibility and control over what is being spent and where. And if you're using all three of these, your Concur solution will smart match all of these transactions into one expense line item.
All righty, I'm ready to book. What should I be thinking about, Claudia?
Assuming your traveler is booking through your online booking tool, content is key. Travelers need information to make the right decisions for both themselves and the company.
Yeah, and here at SAP Concur, we're continuing to enhance the Concur travel, and content is really a big part of that travel evolution.
It is. We're investing in sources that supplement the GDS with richer detail for rail, car, air, and hotels. And in fact, we highlighted some of the planned changes at GBTA last month in August. This will include sustainability information, better imagery, and rate comparisons. It will also make greener choices easier. Content like CO2 emissions and electric hybrid options when booking car rentals or hotels that are green certified.
And this one's a big one for me, parity across both mobile and desktop with the same content and functionality for a real consistent look and feel. We've got optimized accessibility, reduced workflow clicks, type ahead functionality, sorting, and I could just go on and on. But this actually assumes that the traveler is using Concur Travel, which we love, but we know it's not always the case, right, Claudia?
Very true. A recent study by Wakefield shows most travelers expect flexibility to ensure their safety, support a work life balance, and ensure sustainable travel.
Yeah, organizations still need visibility into those non-concur or non-agency bookings to manage spend and fulfill those duty of care obligations.
One of the easiest ways to bring outside bookings back into your managed travel program is Concur TripLink. When a traveler books on a connected supplier's direct website, they see your company's negotiated rates, and the itinerary is automatically sent back into Concur.
So, how can employees feel safe and supported during the trip?
Well, we talked about planning information and providing that information through TripIt. And it can also provide access to emergency numbers and other local information and updates. TripLink provides the itinerary so you know where your travelers are.
Yeah, and companies may also want to consider services like those provided by our endorsed app partner, International SOS. They integrate with Concur Travel and can really assist with health and safety issues while your traveler is on the road.
Jeanne, I have a story for you. My team actually just had to use this back in May. I was in Prague with over 100 of my colleagues, and we had a team building event in the city when one of my teammates had a medical emergency. We needed to get help ASAP. None of us spoke Czech. We didn't know the emergency phone number. I mean, think about it. How many of us really know the emergency numbers outside of our own country, right? So then one of my colleagues said, we have, or SAP has international SOS. So they're sending an ambulance, they're talking us through what we need to do, and they even kept in touch with the employee to ensure everything was okay after the incident. Thankfully, all ended well, but the lesson here is that companies have a duty of care responsibility to their employees wherever they are in the world.
That's an amazing story, and it makes me feel a lot safer when I travel to know that that is available for me. But now that we've gone on our trip, we're back home and we're ready to submit our expense report. And Claudia, we all know that even the best trip in the world can turn painful at this very point.
It's true, and that's why we suggest making that process as painless as possible using those three pre-trip tips that we shared earlier.
hmm The most frustrating part for me is when I have an expense report rejected.
I agree, but everything we've been talking about helps to eliminate those errors. Clear and updated policies, digital technologies to guide compliant travel choices in capturing spend information, and we've also encouraged the use of corporate cards.
And you can use audit rules. I know they have a bad reputation, but those audit rules can really help provide guidance after the trip.
Audit rules do get a bad rap. I love them. But our customers have a real opportunity here to make this a positive experience while maintaining compliance. Make sure that your audit rules provide clear messaging and don't overwhelm people and processes with too many of them. In fact, the benchmark average is about 100.
Yeah. And as Claudia mentioned, SAP is updating our own policies and redefining our audit rules. And we have way more than 100, but keep in mind, we're a large global corporation.
Right? Each organization is different. So your strategy for audit rules should be well thought out. Just because you can build them doesn't mean you should. Audit rules are about guiding behavior. So spend some time thinking about exactly what it is you want your employees to do or not do.
Yeah, that's a great point. This is also an opportunity for organizations to reinforce their culture. It can create a sense of empowerment by having fewer audit rules. Again, because SAP operates in a global marketplace, there are very specific country regulatory requirements that we have to follow.
Right, like you said earlier, fewer rules may not work for a company funded by government grants or specific regulatory requirements, right? This is about doing what makes the most sense for your company. Again, it's all about balance.
I keep hearing that phrase, doing what's best for you. So we've talked about travel spend, but we see that up to 40% of the expense report travel and spend is not tied back to actual travel, going back even to 2018.
Yes, this is called tail spend, and companies have a lot of it. Things like equipment rentals, advertising, office supplies, postage, and courier fees. Should I keep going? I don't think we have enough time. And
No.
many online vendors only accept electronic payments and don't accept purchase orders.
Yeah. So we know this spend is happening. Claudia, can you talk us through some of the best practice handling for it?
Absolutely. First, you have to capture it. We already talked about individual travel cards, but you might also consider purchasing cards or what we call department cards that can be used for shared assets and department spend.
And invoices are another purchase channel. And even companies and organizations with the most robust procurement and payables processes can benefit from the efficiency and visibility that an automated AP process provides, like with Concur Invoice. Concur Invoice can actually treat that tail spend more like managed spend.
And with Concur Invoice, you can capture all of those paper and electronic invoices. And it's just another tab for users to use on your Concur instance. You'll get robust reporting for spend from all of your spend channels. And there are also partner integrations to help manage non-travel spend, such as Amazon for Business, for example, or Xylo, which can track one-off software purchases.
Okay, we've been focusing on that employee spending, but Claudia, what about the people who don't work for you but spend your money?
Jean, I think you might be talking about contractors or maybe interview candidates. You can use built-in functionality such as sponsored guests to allow non-employees to book travel and submit expenses directly on your Concur instance. You can also control their access, limit expense types that they have visibility to, and attribute their costs to specific functions.
Mm-hmm. So we're talking about best practice here. So what are some of the other areas that customers should be looking at?
Well, one easy place to start is reviewing your spend in the other category or miscellaneous expense type category.
Okay, this is the bane of my existence. Many of our customers use other miscellaneous expense types, which reduces spend visibility. I was a customer who did that at one point. I'm going to challenge you to consider turning those categories off and those expense types off. But if you aren't ready for that, look at your expense type categories and get really clear about the information you want to track. Ask yourself, What matters to your organization, and if the information you're collecting and providing gives accurate financial reporting.
And don't forget the experts at SAP Concur are here to help you. I remind you about dropping your questions in the chat as well.
Mhm. All right. This brings us to compliance, which also can be another dirty word like auditing.
It doesn't have to be, Jean. Compliance is all about making sure spend is happening in the way the company intended to meet internal and external requirements. That includes auditing. I think about auditing in two stages. First is the tactical. This is the line by line review of each expense report. Best practice is to use artificial intelligence and machine learning to make a tedious, time consuming task more effective and efficient. Then there's the strategic auditing. This analyzes data points to uncover patterns of error, waste, or even misuse, which would be nearly impossible to spot with human review. Concur Detect by Oversight is great for this.
And I love that idea of applying both a tactical and a strategic approach to compliance. But what do we do about governmental regulations like, say, taxation?
This can be a problem, particularly for companies operating in multiple countries. Again, leveraging technology to stay compliant. We have solutions like Tax Assurance by Blue Dot that leverage artificial intelligence as well to review domestic tax and foreign VAT reclaim. They review every single receipt and help avoid risks as well tied to taxable employee benefits.
Okay, so that sounds great. But won't applying these types of tools and reviews into a process slow down payments to my employees or even the postings to my GL for reporting?
Yes. No, I'm just kidding. It would only if it was being done manually. But smart technologies are more effective and efficient, and they free up back office employees to work on higher value tasks.
So again, balance your workflow with both technology and humans to get the best out of each.
When both work together, you can even find other efficiencies such as workflow. For example, if your audit rules are defined and you're leveraging artificial intelligence and machine learning that's in place, think about why would a manager even need to approve an expense report? Perhaps
Mhm.
managers only review expense reports that are over a certain dollar amount or that contain certain expense types. With artificial intelligence doing the heavy lift, you can ease the burden on your approvers too.
Yeah, I am a big exception-based approval person. In fact, I challenge customers with this all the time. It's the idea of what is your manager's role post-spend? If you can eliminate manual duplicative effort, you may actually shorten time to reimbursement and speed up financial reporting.
That would be a win win. Employees get paid faster, managers have fewer approvals in their inboxes, and the back office team is spending time on what really matters.
Mm-hmm. So I'm sure everybody's asking, how do we know if the policies are working? And that answer is data. I am a huge proponent of data-driven improvements.
I am as well. And if you collect all of it, you'll have a complete picture of your T&E program. Then you can begin to analyze that data in meaningful ways.
Yeah, this is where reporting comes in. If sustainability is really important to your organization, build a report to analyze air and rail bookings as well as personal car mileage. Want to identify bottlenecks in your process? Then use the data to find them. The point here is the more you know, the more you can improve.
When it comes to reporting, you should also be including the needs of different personas also. Accounting may like rows and lists, whereas your C suite appreciates summaries and trends. In short, know your audience.
Yeah, I'm a big dashboard person. But I'm going to challenge everybody here listening. Before you end your sessions today, identify the questions you want answered from your data. Understand who needs that data and in what format they want the data.
Challenge accepted. Data can lead the way to solve problems when things aren't working and optimization of processes when they are to bring your program to that next level.
Yeah, data is a critical component of a best-in-class spend management program because without data, you're just another person with an opinion.
Right. The future is going to bring an even closer relationship between data and systems. Intelligent tech will do more proactive analysis, turning an explosion of data into focused, meaningful information. You'll see predictive, intelligent tools that point out solutions where you may have not even known that you had a problem.
Well said, Claudia. Because this is the vision that we have here at SAP Concur, and it doesn't stop with data. We're creating a world where travel and expenses practically manage themselves. We're building an intelligent and predictive travel, expense, and invoice management ecosystem that instinctively and minimally interacts with employees.
You had me at expenses that manage themselves.
Oh, well, Claudia, this journey started with policies and ended up with analysis. This is the one that each of you listening is making too.
And don't forget, this journey is round trip. The entire process feeds itself. Policies lead to process and spending that's reviewed through audit and data, which in turn helps guide updates to policy and processes. It's ever evolving.
Continuous process improvement makes my heart sing. Well, hopefully we got you thinking about ways you may be able to take your T&E solutions to the next level. Thank you, Claudia, for all of the conversation.
Thank you, Jeanne, and thanks to all of you for taking this journey with us. And please don't forget to take a few moments to complete our survey. Thank you again, everybody.